You're listening to the Red Man Podcast.
All right, we're back for another episode of the Red Man Podcast. I'm joined again with Mr. Kolby Cron. Mr. Kolby Cron, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Chris. How are you doing on this beautiful day?
Well, I'd be doing better if it was, a nice, cool October or November day. I'm just so tired of the heat. Me and you, we just walked next door to our Hattiesburg office over here. There's coffee over here. And as I was walking back, I thought to myself, this is so stupid. I walk over here in the heat, I get hot coffee, and I turn around and I walk back through the heat as I drink my hot coffee. It doesn't make any sense. But that's where we are. I'm not a summer person. I'm just ready for it to be over.
So you giving me credit for getting iced coffee?
You did get the cold brew, but for me, coffee is not supposed to be cold. It just doesn't seem right.
So do you want to hear my rule?
Sure.
My rule is before lunch is hot coffee. Anytime after lunch is cold coffee.
And I get that. Because, I'm sitting there saying I don't drink cold coffee, but I will, if I go in a convenience store, I will buy those bottles of cold coffee, but not what you buy. You buy that bitter, straight up cold brew, and I can't do that. But anyway, this isn't a coffee podcast. This isn't coffee talk. This is the Red Man Podcast. So we are obviously here to talk about bugs, which is, I know you don't like that term.
Insects. Chris.
Insects. Well, actually, we're not even talking about insects today. It's all about arachnids today.
That's fair.
We're going to talk about two one's real popular, one maybe not so much. The first thing we'll talk about is we'll do our arachnid profile on the Goliath Bird Eater. Just the name of that thing freaks me out a little bit. Thank God it's not something that we're going to come across in the United States unless it's, somebody's pet or something.
Is this another one of those that's from Australia?
I don't know that they have them in Australia. I don't know a lot about it. And one of the reasons why I thought this would be fun to do is I try to pick stuff that we probably don't know a whole lot about. But this, for it to be called a bird eater, I mean, it's obviously a pretty large spider. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I read somewhere where it was sort of described as about the size of a newborn puppy, which kind of blows my mind.
It's got to be from Australia. Chris.
It blows my mind. I want to say they're out of South America. You may need to Google that because I don't even know if I have that here, but I can tell you they're big enough that their leg span, it goes out to about 12 inches, and the body length is up to 5 inches. This is a big spider. Weighs 6.2 ounces, and the colors vary from dark brown to light tan. It may have this little faint striping on its legs. I've seen pictures of these things. Despite the name of it, apparently it rarely eats birds. The speculation is the name comes from a 1705 illustration showing a tarantula consuming a hummingbird that someone did. Apparently, they have been known to do it, though. It's just probably not as often as the name of this thing leads you to believe. So where is it from? Did you look it up?
Yeah, so it's you were correct. It's actually from the rainforests of northern South America, specifically the countries of Venezuela, northern Brazil, French Guinea, several different areas around there. And guys, this you could literally walk this spider on a leash. I'm not even joking. This thing is massive.
I told you it was big.
It's almost so big it's not scary because it's almost like a pet. It's not like a small spider.
It's scary to me. Like I said, I'm glad that we don't deal with them here in the United States. All right, so lifestyle, this thing, it's a nocturnal arachnid, mostly keeps to itself. It burrows in very moist and swampy rainforest areas, which kind of tracks with what you just said about where it's from. Hides underneath logs a lot with roots and rocks. It's got these urticating, I can't say that word, hairs. It kicks barbed hairs from the abdomen that irritate skin and mucous membranes. It makes a hissing sound. And it can produce a stridulation noise by rubbing leg bristles together as a warning. Fangs, this is probably the most frightening thing of all. Its fangs are over an inch long and can easily puncture human skin. So again, I don't know why people want just a normal tarantula as a pet. I certainly wouldn't understand why anyone would want one this large as a pet. I mean, have you ever? We actually worked with a guy that he had a tarantula not long ago in his office, didn't he?
Yeah, Mr. Norman.
That would be
Louvier.
Mr. Norman.
He now has, what is it, roaches?
Yeah, I think he's got some of those large hissing roaches, but he did have a tarantula at one point. Again, I guess he's into that sort of thing. Maybe we can find him a Goliath Bird Eater. I don't know if that'll be welcomed in the corporate office, but...
Well, looking at iNaturalist, it has been found as far north as Haiti.
Really?
So I guess it has been translocated to Haiti at some point in the past. But yeah, it's North Brazil primarily.
Well, in the wild, we talked about occasionally eating birds, but primarily I think it eats other insects and worms. It has been known to eat frogs, rodents, lizards, and even snakes, in addition to birds. That's a pretty widespread diet there, carnivorous diet. In captivity, mostly people feed them roaches, crickets, mealworms, and pinky mice. I don't know what pinky mice is. You know what that is?
No.
Hunting style, it's an ambush predator. It grabs and crushes its prey, and it uses those strong 1-inch fangs I talked about and injects venom. It liquefies the inside of its prey. Males approach females real cautiously when it's time to mate. Females can be aggressive. Imagine that. Females can be aggressive and may eat the male after mating. So we talked last week about the female mantis killing the male after mating. Apparently, something similar happens with the Goliath Bird Eater, as you kind of alluded to last week. I guess that's sort of a common occurrence in the insect and arachnid world.
So,
what do you got?
Do you know what pinky mice are?
No, I don't. What are they?
It's just
do I want to know?
baby mice.
Oh, just
that are commercially sold as food for pets.
So newborn baby mice. They just, oh my God, that's terrible. He's showing me a picture of them.
It looks so bad. I'm like,
it does.
That is the.
Can
fact
you
that that's
imagine?
even
You're a mouse and you've just been born. You just come into this world and you're snatched away and thrown into the jaws of a Goliath Bird Eater. That's terrible. What a life. Egg sacs. So when mating does happen, egg sacs produced contain up to 100 to 200 eggs. And these females, man, can live up to 25 years. That's a long time. We've got, I've got a son who just graduated college. He's not even 25 yet. There's Goliath bird eaters out there that's older than him. Males, this is what's really crazy. It's such a drastic difference. Males typically only live up to about 6 years, which I guess in a lot of cases they're murdered after mating. So
Checks out.
I guess it makes sense. But that's a big difference. 20 to 25 years for females and only 3 to 6 years for males. There is a little bit of a human risk. It is mildly toxic to humans, but it's very comparable to a wasp sting. It's certainly not anything lethal.
A little bit of
it's
irritation.
going to kill you, but
I think you'd be a lot more scared than you would be hurt.
Probably. I still wouldn't want to test it. Probably an even bigger risk is those hairs we were talking about. It can cause a lot of itching and rashes, and it can cause a lot of skin irritation, and that's probably more of a common issue that humans have when they're handling them. So obviously it's not recommended to handle them unless you have gloves on with some kind of other protective stuff to make sure they don't hurt you. Which you don't have to worry about that with me. I won't handle them with gloves, without gloves. I'm not touching them.
Nope.
It does hold the Guinness World Record for heaviest spider. Unlike many spiders, it does not rely on webs at all. It actively hunts prey on the forest floor. They can live in captivity. We kind of talked about this, but it requires very careful humidity, temperature, and ventilation control. I wonder how much a Goliath bird eater costs. How much does a regular tarantula cost?
Well, it's going to depend. There's certain insect species around the world that you're not allowed to import from country to country. This may be one of those. I'm not sure. Some you can, some you can't, but we certainly can look it up.
Yeah,
Bet you they wouldn't be cheap.
No, I bet they wouldn't either.
The more you have to feed them, the more they cost to maintain. So.
I wonder how hard they are to find too. But
considering you have to go into the rainforest to get
one. I mean, it seems like they wouldn't be easy to get. But anyway, I was watching Netflix the other day, and there's this new game show that I saw that's coming on. Do you watch a lot of reality TV? You don't watch a lot of TV, period.
I don't watch. I actually watched last night Netflix for the first time, probably a month. And let me see if you've heard about this. I know we're getting off track here.
It's fine.
The Balloon Boy. Have you seen?
Yes, I know all about the Balloon Boy.
That was during your.
Yeah, I remember. It was sort of I saw that there was a special on there about that, but I already knew how it ended. So, and it was kind of anticlimactic when you figure out what's going on. So I didn't waste my time watching it.
That was one of those things. It's like I saw it, and I'm like, "There's no way I've never heard about it." You're telling me a kid got carried away in a balloon, and I've not heard about this before.
Well, don't spoil it for people that hadn't seen it.
Not going to spoil it, but
it is a little anticlimactic. You're exactly right. But anyway, I was looking around on Netflix, and there's this. I do watch a lot of reality shows. I hate to admit that. It's a guilty pleasure. Me and my wife, we watch them. And there's a new game show on Netflix called Battle Camp, and they had a little snippet of a clip they were showing. And I'm getting to why this connects here in just a second. But, of course, it's one of these reality shows where they have competitions. They're in teams, and they're competing against each other. And the particular competition that was sampled here involved eating a fried tarantula. So they had two contestants across the table from each other and said, "Hey, we're serving you pizza." Then they take the top off of it, and it is a piece of pizza. It's a slice of pizza, but it's got a fried tarantula sitting on top of it. And it's not a small tarantula either. I mean, it takes up most of the pizza. And so they had to eat it to be able to continue on. So in the clip, you can hear, I mean, it's crunching in their mouths, and they're describing it.
They had the up-close microphones for that one.
They did, and I've got a little bit of a sample here so you can hear what it sounded like.
Now, I'm starting to feel a little fur sticking to the inner part of my cheeks, but just pretending it's my grandma's fried chicken.
You can't give up now! You can't give up now! Beauty! Come on,
I can just taste every single vertebrae and everything inside of it. Never in my life did I expect that I would ever eat a tarantula.
Yeah, I bet she didn't, but she was chomping down on it.
First thing I want to point out is
I know what
spiders do not have vertebrae.
No, I thought the same thing. But hey, we'll give her a little bit of grace. She didn't know any better. Hey, I would never do it. I don't care if it has vertebrae or not.
That sounds almost exactly like, I may be making this up, but I almost could swear. So when I was younger, I did watch more reality TV with my parents.
Fear Factor.
Well, no, Survivor.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm pretty positive there's a segment on one of the early Survivor seasons where they had to eat a spider.
But was it fried and on top of pizza?
I think it was alive.
Oh, no, that's crossing a line.
It was either a dead one just as it was, or it was a live one. I want to say it was alive.
I can't imagine. I don't know how much money is involved in this battle camp show, but it would have to be. Well, let me ask you, how much money would it take for you to eat a fried tarantula? Any ideas?
Maybe it wouldn't be as much as you think.
Maybe we can get Eddie to pony up some money. How much money?
Because listen, at the end of the day, people eat fried soft-shell crabs all the time. It's not that far off. Now, I'm sure it doesn't taste nearly as good, but...
Well, these things looked extra crispy on this clip. This is not a visual podcast, but these were black, crispy tarantulas. How much money would it take?
I think I would take a bite.
No, you got to eat the whole dang thing.
Okay, the whole thing.
That's
going to increase my valuation.
Well, how much money?
$2,000.
$2,000? That's it?
Yeah.
God,
I would take them.
I need to show you the clip, and you see this thing.
That may make the number go up, but I mean, come on.
I was thinking more like maybe $10,000. I would do it, but
it would really depend on how big.
It would still be a big if. But anyway, if anybody wants to contribute $2,000 to get it or to get Kolby to eat a fried tarantula, hey, we'll talk about it. Email us. But that's it for our arachnid profile this week. And the whole episode is really about arachnids today because the Control Corner segment, you've got a different arachnid that is very...
very, very relevant for us here in the United States. And look, we certainly don't ever want to come in contact with that Goliath Bird Eater. And this is another one you don't want to come in contact with. Very, very prevalent and of concern in the pest control industry, and that's the brown recluse spider.
Old fiddleback.
Now, thankfully, where we're at along the Gulf Coast, not as prevalent as the more mountainous, hilly states like Tennessee, North Mississippi, Alabama, but we can still have them down here from time to time. We've encountered them a few times here at Red at various people's homes, a lot of the time as people have moved from place to place. However, they are a concern, and they are certainly very, very venomous, and you do not want to deal with them, because if you are to be bitten by a brown recluse spider, you have the possibility of having to deal with necrosis.
Nasty condition.
Nasty. And that is where the venom, the toxins that are in this spider when it bites you will actually eat away at your flesh slowly over time until you get that section of your arm or whatever treated properly or cut out. It can spread and cause infections and other things to happen. So it's not fun, and it's one of the most painful bites out there.
And I would think I've seen obviously the results of a bite, but my guess would be it could cause some substantial scarring even when you recover from it.
Well, you're essentially with necrosis, it's eating away not only at your skin, but it's eating away at your muscle tissue. And when that heals, even if it does heal properly, quote unquote, you can still have an indentation in your arm where that muscle tissue has been eaten away, and it's not going to grow back naturally.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the biggest downsides from it. But obviously, one of the biggest things when you want to know if you've been bitten by a spider or not is the 2 fang marks. Compared to most insects out there, they're going to sting you or bite you. You're going to have one individual marking. Mm-hmm. But with a spider, similar to like a snake, you're going to have those fangs. So.
Right. But I mean, I would also think most people would feel it.
Well, unless a lot of times
unless
they
you're
bite
asleep.
When you're asleep.
That's true.
For the most part. So typically people don't feel it. They feel it when they wake up in the morning. They're like, what the heck is this?
That's true. That's a good point.
And you don't want to mistake that for a bed bug or a mosquito or an ant or whatever else. You need to seek medical attention as quickly as possible to hopefully prevent that from having any adverse effects. But,
right.
Obviously, being in the control corner, we want to talk about how can you prevent, and then what are some of the ways you can treat for brown recluse spiders if you do have an infestation. And I use infestation lightly because they can occur in larger numbers, but typically you're only going to have a couple, depending on the circumstance. But kind of based on their name, they are reclusive, which, Chris, do you know what reclusive means?
Yes, I know what reclusive means. It kind of sounds like my wife. She's very reclusive. She won't come out of the house half the time.
So
hopefully she didn't hear this.
As compared to most spiders out there that are predators, they're going out in your yard during the day, feeding on insects, hunting. Recluse spiders kind of sit in one spot, kind of lay in wait for their prey to come by. So as a result, brown recluse spiders, you really don't ever see them just out walking, on the floor in your house or out in your yard or going up the side of a shed. They're in their hiding spot 95% of the time.
And that's an important point because even in the pest control industry, we get calls all the time from customers say, I see a brown recluse. I've seen brown recluses everywhere. And of course, 9 times out of 10, we get out there and it's not.
Cellar spiders or house spiders.
A wolf spider. I mean, it could be all kinds of things. Yeah. It's everything but a brown recluse because like you said, people don't understand. It's not a spider you'd primarily see during the day just walking across the kitchen floor, but
that's right.
People think that.
But, typically they can be found under dressers, wood piles up against the house. Typically they are indoors when we interact with them. But I'll tell you the number one place, and this may make it a little bit scarier for some folks out there, Chris. Mm-hmm. The number one place you're going to find brown recluse spiders is under your insulation in your attic.
Oh, yeah. Attics are bad.
So what are some of the things you can do to prevent them from getting in your home? Well, first of all, weatherproofing your home in all regards. We talked about this in last week's segment, but caulking around windows, making sure your door seals are not worn out and dry rotted, making sure you don't have any attic vents or caps that need to be plugged or replaced. All these things are going to prevent those infestations. And then just being very, very mindful of when you're bringing new materials, boxes, you move, bringing new things into your home that could be infested from a previous location. That's typically where they're introduced from, is from other infest places. But regular cleaning, vacuuming, checking underneath furniture, anytime you leave things in one location for a long period of time, it's more of a risk to be a harborage for any insect, but especially the brown recluse. But going back to the insulation stuff, Chris, being the fact that when they are found, they typically are in the attic. When we want to talk about control, well, yes, general pest sprays can help if they do venture out and come across the barriers that are put out. Glue traps are very, very prevalent to be used to monitor for them. Right. And those are going to help minimize the impact, but it's not going to eliminate the issue. If you truly have a brown recluse issue in the attic of your home, underneath your fiberglass, cellulose insulation, probably the best thing you can do is have that insulation replaced with a borate treated insulation. Right. Here at Red, we provide that service with a product called TAP. It's thermal acoustical pest control insulation, and is treated with a EPA registered professional grade borate that has a whole host of insects and arachnids on the label that it can help control. But that's probably one of the most surefire ways if you have an infestation, because that is a broad coverage across the footprint of your house. Right. And no matter where they're at in that area, they're going to come in contact with it.
Probably, you mentioned they're not as bad on the coastal states, and they're not. But I do remember, I guess the worst case I ever came across with brown recluse spiders, it wasn't even a residence. I remember there was a bank in Scuba, Mississippi. We got a call one time when I worked for a previous company, and I went up, and I'd never seen so many brown recluse spiders from one end of that bank to the other. We put the insect monitors that you talked about up in every room in that bank, and came back a few days later, and there were just brown recluse spiders everywhere. So I have no idea how they got so bad in that bank in Scuba, Mississippi, which, if you don't know, is in the middle of nowhere. But they were that was probably the worst one that I ever saw.
Well, it's not necessarily that they're not prevalent in the coastal states. There's almost a very defined line of their territory throughout the southern states, and kind of one of the lines I've always heard about and seen talking to other PCOs is kind of that Oxford, Mississippi diagonal from Memphis heading down towards Tuscaloosa, that area. That's kind of like where it makes the big jump between you got them a lot and you don't have them very often. But no, I found them in Harrison County. I found them Jackson County, Forest County around Hattiesburg. I mean, they're in the coastal counties for sure. Just it's not very common.
I'll also tell you, I did a little bit of research about them because I knew we were going to talk about them. I was just curious, were there any recent news stories related to the brown recluse spider? I didn't find anything recent. There's tons of them on there. But one thing that did stand out to me, which many people say this is probably the worst residential infestation on record, but that at least that we know about. But in Kansas, back in 2001, there was a house. These people moved into it. I think the previous homeowner had lived there for 20 years. Not much is known about him or what he did. But anyway, they move into the house, and after a few weeks, they start noticing spiders everywhere. And they didn't realize what they were at first, but it's bad enough they were seeing them during the day. So anyway, they got a pest control operator involved, and they began to realize that this house was heavily infested with brown recluse spiders. Now, over a 6-month period, and they used insect monitors and other methods of treatment, but over a 6-month period, they counted over 2,000 brown recluse spiders that were either caught or killed, and that's just the ones that they were able to find. But they literally counted, and it was over 2,000 brown recluse spiders in a house with a family with children. You just
light on fire.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. That's kind of terrifying because, again, they had small children, and I don't think anybody, miraculously, I don't think any of them actually were bitten or anything. But
and going back to control methods that I recommended, the insulation, some residual pesticides, those are not going to help with an infestation where you've got thousands of spiders. Right. I mean, obviously, you could look at doing some sort of fumigation or fogging. That would probably be the best solution for that scenario. I'm not a huge fan of going to that extreme, if at all possible. But that would probably be about the only thing they would have been able to do.
Yeah, I mean, this is an extreme case. This is not your normal average brown recluse infestation. So what else about them? Anything
Well,
else?
obviously, I think it would be remiss to say if we didn't talk about how you identify them. We haven't really touched on that. Obviously, they're called the fiddleback spider because they have that kind of distinct pattern of a fiddle. And
That's
you,
right.
You kind of have to see one to understand what I'm saying here, but very, very distinct. They're very light brown in color, and they have those
very long legs.
Very long legs.
And that, to me, that's a telltale sign.
Yep.
That kind of separates it from some of the other spiders that people mistake it for.
Mm-hmm.
Those long, I was going to say that too, those long, thin legs.
And, younger ones can be fairly small, so it's hard to say, oh, it's one of the bigger spiders, because they are commonly misidentified with wolf spiders and things of the nature because they're just bigger. People see a big spider and go, oh, it's a brown recluse. Not necessarily. Some of those cellar spiders that are similar in color and shape are pretty big as well, but generally they are larger,
right,
compared to most spiders you'll run into.
Well, at the end of the day, and we try to say this, if you're just an average Joe out there and you think you have a brown recluse spider issue, you probably need to seek some kind of professional help. Get any kind of reputable pest control company to come out and do an inspection, and they'll be able to tell you pretty quickly whether or not it's a brown recluse or if it's something else. And then, of course, they can give you a plan of action to eliminate them. But again, it's not they're not super dangerous, but there is a little bit of danger involved with what they can do to you. They can hurt you, and it's not something I would sit on because before you know it, you might have over 2,000 of them in your house.
I couldn't imagine.
Like those poor folks over in Kansas. So, all right, well, that's it for our Control Corner segment this week. So now it's time for our Tech Talk segment where we just call a technician randomly out in the field. Just kind of check in on them. Don't spend a lot of time because we know these folks are really busy. But it is kind of fun just to pop in on them, ask them a couple of questions, see what they're doing, because you just never know what you're going to get. So today we're going to reach out to Nathan Brown, who's a longtime associate of, or at least in the pest control industry. He's worked at more than just Red Pest Solutions. He's worked other places as well. A lot of experience as not only a pest control operator, but he's also been involved in sales more recently. So we're just going to give him a call randomly. Let's see if we can get Nathan on the phone.
Hello?
Hello, Nathan Brown. It's Chris Mosley.
Hey. Hey, Chris.
Listen, man, I've got Kolby with me. We're on the Red Man podcast. We decided you would be our victim today. We would just call you randomly just to check in on you. How's your day going, Nathan? What have you been up to today?
Well, I went to Laurel. Now I'm headed to Mize.
Laurel, oh, you headed to Mize. Okay. Well, again, we don't want to take up too much of your time. So I kind of talked about you a little bit before I called. You've got you've done a little bit of everything in the pest control industry. You were a technician for a while, and you've more recently gotten into sales. I mean, what do you like about this stuff, Nathan? Because what some people may not know about you is you're sort of a fishing fanatic. You're really, really into fishing. But you've been involved in pest control for a long time. My point is, there's a lot of other things you could be doing. What draws you to pest control? What do you like about it?
So what got me into pest control? There's always something new. Run into different things, but it doesn't get boring.
So you like to be outside?
Meet new people every day. Every day is an adventure.
Yeah. And you
never know what you're going to get into.
You're definitely an outside person because I mentioned fishing a minute ago.
Also a cornhole fanatic.
That's right. I forgot. We're actually talking to a semi-pro athlete here. I forgot about that. He's big into cornhole, and you've done all these tournaments and things. What do you like better, Nathan, fishing or cornhole?
I'd rather do fishing than cornhole.
Really, I would have guessed the other way around.
I'm real big into fishing. Do a little bit of hunting. So.
Yeah, and Nathan, you even had a little you had a near-death experience not all that long ago, which I thought was interesting. For those that don't know, I'll say it real quick because I don't know how great Nathan's cell service is, but you went up to one of these little barrier islands off the coast of Mississippi. I think you kayaked out there, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were trying to get back to shore, or to the mainland, and somewhere along the way, your kayaks capsized. You ended up in the water out there in the Gulf, and with sharks and everything else, with the sun going down. And
I was out in the water for 6 hours.
6 hours he was out in that water. Nathan, you were lucky that you're alive.
Yeah, they had the Coast Guard out looking, all kinds of stuff.
So when you did get back to shore, and your wife, I mean, was she glad to see you, or did she cuss you out
Well, she was crying because she didn't know if I was alive or what happened. So she was really upset. So.
Yeah, she probably thought that she was about to become a widow. You scared the crap out of her.
She told me not to ever get a kayak again.
So I don't blame her.
Well, I don't blame her either. I like to kayak, and I'll go on the river and stuff like that. I don't know that I would kayak across any of the Gulf of Mexico. I don't think I would do that. Have you gotten back in a kayak since that happened, Nathan?
I hadn't. So
we're not going to send a tape of this to your wife. You can tell us.
Just because of the almost death experience.
Well, and the other thing too, I mean, if his kayak's capsized, he lost them.
If it wasn't for the life jacket, they said I wouldn't have made it.
So I don't know if you heard Kolby. Did you loot? So the kayaks were just lost. You didn't get them back.
They never recovered it. It sank. So it filled up with so much water.
So you have no desire to get another one. It's not, you haven't kayaked again because you lost the kayaks, or because you're scared to do it.
Just because of the death experience.
Okay. All right.
I've never got back into it.
Well, let me ask you something just completely in the other direction, Nathan, while we have you. So today's topic on the control corner, we talked about brown recluse spiders. In your years out in the field as a salesman or as a technician, have you had any encounters with the brown recluse?
I've ran into a couple of them, but
few and far between.
It's very rare for me to run into them.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's kind of what I thought.
I've run into black widows more than brown recluse.
Yeah, I think I could agree with that. I probably came across a lot more black widows than I have brown recluse over the years. So that tracks. Well, look, Nathan, we appreciate you taking a minute just to talk to us real quick. Any parting words before we let you go?
I think that should be it. It's just pretty hot today, but
it is hot. We actually opened the episode talking about how hot it is. Well, look, you stay cool out there, drink some water, and if you need anything, you give us a holler, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, we'll see you, Nathan. Bye.
Thanks, Nathan.
No problem.
All right, so that was Nathan Brown. You're talking about his little near-death experience.
I think you dug up a little bit of trauma there, Chris.
I did. He's probably going to have to sit there a moment and gather himself back up before he gets going again. But I can't imagine how terrifying that would be. When I heard that story,
there's no way. I
mean, and this, he didn't really, I don't think he talked about it there, but he legit said they were like sharks bumping into him and circling. And man,
we talked about how terrifying that bird-eating spider was, but I don't know. I'd probably give that spider a hug if it meant I would not have to tread water.
Absolutely. I think he had he was suffering from hypothermia when he got. It was terrible.
Been in the water for too long.
It was absolutely terrible. All right, well, we'll end it here for this episode of the Red Man Podcast. I do want to remind everybody we do have an email address. It's redmanpodcast@redpest.com. If you have any show topics you'd like for us to talk about, or if you've got some technician you'd like for us to drop in on out in the field, or just any other general questions, we'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, we'll see you next time for an all-new episode on the Red Man Podcast.
Call the Red Man.